Hey you guys. So this is Thoughts with Queen T, and my thought or topic for today is going to be on streaming services because there's a lot going on that I feel is affecting the streaming services. So there's a lot I think to talk about in regards to this, so I'm going to try and just go in order, but I might be going all over the place. So I apologize in advance if I do that. First off, you have, I feel, the rising cost. So, what people are noticing is, especially if you have, like, you know, I'm going to try my best not to call HBO Max, or I'm going to try my best to not call Max HBO Max. But if you have Max, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, like the bundle going on, if you've got Paramount Plus, you name it, Amazon, if you have all these streaming services, that's almost equaling what cable is. And so for some, they've had to really check what streaming services are they utilizing? Because right now, I think for many people, they're just having a time where it's like, okay, I really have to kind of have my checks and balances here as to what is a priority and what isn't. You also have this new, I'll throw in there with it, the password sharing. Netflix just rolled that out, a couple months ago? And it sounds like Disney is going to do the same thing in October. So people who may be using it within a family for Disney and Hulu, like their bundle, that might be another situation where if you had to buy, like if you were using a Netflix family account, whatever, and you then had to purchase Netflix on your own, you might be having to do the same thing for Disney. Another thing that you will have to then add onto your kind of expense list. And for some people, they don't want to have to do that, so they have to, again, check and, hey, am I utilizing this? Am I not? Then it comes down to, you know, with these streaming services, what analysts have realized is, or what people are seeing, if you look at the stock market prices for a lot of these companies, so in particular, I'll point out like Disney and Max, or Warner Brothers, for instance, to be more specific, I guess I should say. At the point in which streaming was very popular, you will see that peak. At the point where we're at now, you will see it's very low because people are saying, hey, you're either charging too much, or the shows that I like or thought I would like, or the things that maybe you promised, they're just not living up to the hype. Because every single day, I feel like I see, or at least once a month, a show is canceled. Something that we thought was going to come out isn't coming out, it's delayed. And this is not pertaining either to the writers and actors strike, which we'll get to that a little later. But, things are getting delayed, perhaps. But in most cases, things are just getting canceled. Or the things that are they coming out with, they're not what people want. And so you may have some like banger shows, but then everything else you come out with is not quality television. So you're spending money and putting money out where people really don't want it. You know, we see this a lot with Netflix. Netflix will chuck out movies and shows, and half of those shows get canceled. So some people get really invested in those, and then they're just gone. Now, if we move on to the writers and actors strike, because I think this is the biggest part of it. With the writers and actors strike, a lot of that is what's leading to some of these delays. They still have not reached an agreement for, new pay and new, the conditions and everything. So some of the shows that maybe we were gonna get, we may not like sooner, or at the timeline that we thought we were going to get them. We're not going to get them at the time that we thought. So as time kind of keeps going on, either A, they get new writers or actors for different shows that they have, which don't know about that. But whatever. Or B, you wait. And as you kind of wait, you're like, okay, well, if I'm not getting, let's say, your Stranger Things, your Euphoria, your, you name it, whatever you're waiting on, that might jeopardize these streaming services. It's going to. What is also kind of with the strike, what I've noticed is, and maybe you've noticed it as well, a lot of these streaming services are kind of, I would say, sharing content. So Max in particular, so Insecure I noticed was on Netflix, around like May, June. Recently I noticed Ballers was on Netflix. What I have heard is different streaming services are kind of sharing content right now to keep their shows lively, if that makes sense. So other people kind of know about them and are also entertained if they are maybe bored with what they're watching currently. So if Max, like you've watched everything on Max and now you're like, well, I have nothing else to watch, that's where, hey, maybe, Paramount Plus is sharing something with you, like that's where some of these streaming services are kind of, I think, helping each other out, and they're letting other people watch some of these shows. Now, that's not to say some shows currently are not good that are on streaming services. It's just, again, are they living up to the standards that people want? Some of these shows I think are very unique in the sense of, let's say, for instance, currently on Disney Plus, you have Ahsoka. Some people are not Star Wars fans. Maybe they don't want to watch Ahsoka. You've got some shows on Apple TV. Maybe for some, that just doesn't hit for them. Maybe they're not in the mood for that. For some of these shows, you have to be in a mood for, at times, I feel. So that's where I think when it comes to what are they really chucking out, what are they doing, I almost wonder and I almost feel that, hey, take a step back, really think about it. Again, given actors and writers, they come back, maybe settle on an agreement. But if you want to keep people watching streaming, one, it needs to be a reasonable price to where it's, hey, why should I keep having this product? Why should I keep having streaming if it's just going to equal what cable is? Because that wasn't the purpose of what streaming is. But also, don't have a show and then just, having the constant cancellations, because I think for some people that's where, you have those hopes, hopes kind of climb, hopes like rise, and then they fall because they loved a thing and then it's just not there because somehow it didn't reach everyone that it needed to. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, kind of the information that I know in regards to everything. If you have any additional thoughts, please feel free to leave those down below, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.